Hi, I'm Jason Dunda, artist and SAIC professor, and this is the first part of a three-part early college program workshop in Collage. I'm going to review in these videos the basics of the materials, the techniques, and the history of collage, and you're going to be able to do collage in your home with things you just have lying around the house. And that's where I am right now. I'm at my house. This is now my studio. It is also my internet television station. So if you also need to know how to make a tripod out of a bookend and some clamps, I can teach you how to do that too. But in the meantime, here's part one, materials.
So the first thing we need to discuss is your adhesive. That's your glue. If you're working at home, a good option is a good old trusty glue stick. It's cheap, it's easy to find, and easy to use. I would say avoid rubber cement and white glue. Rubber cement can get really thick and gloppy and it can make your paper all misshapen. Same goes for wood glue or Elmer school glue for the opposite reasons, because it's really, really wet and it's going to make your paper wrinkle. Now, both of these were fine when you were doing crafts in kindergarten or elementary school, but this is next level. This is the Art Institute. The best adhesive, in my opinion, is this stuff called Yes Paste. Now, it is archival, which means it won't crack or yellow over time, and it's designed specifically for fine art use. I'm not using that here because it can get kind of expensive, and we're gearing this demo towards working at home. Let's talk about cutting tools. So, scissors and a knife. You're probably familiar with these things. I like to use, so you should at least have a pair of scissors around the house. I like to use a pair that's called offset. That's why this kind of dips down and this is a little bit more flat. But really, as long as you have scissors that aren't too dull, they will do the job perfectly. There's a lot of different types of blade tools out there, and they are not all the same. Common ones are this thin kind and then also a heavy-duty one. I'd avoid this chunky heavy-duty one. Here, we'll put a little no-no over that one. For a number of reasons, because you just don't need that kind of strength to your blade. This is best for cutting really thick cardboard or foam core, something with a real edge to it. Another thing I really do not like about this type of blade is that you actually have to unscrew the handle, and this opens up and you have to put the blade back in there. That is not as safe as I want it to be. So you putting the blade back in its housing is just kind of like an accident waiting to happen. I always use the scalpel type because it's safer, it's easier to control. It feels a lot also like a pencil or a brush in my hand, and that feels very, very natural to me. We should also talk about your cutting surface for a second. You can use an old piece of plywood or a good size piece of scrap cardboard. This here is the backing board of an old pad of paper that I used up, and it would do just fine. Really, anything will work so long as it's clean and smooth and the right size for your workspace. Now, definitely avoid, though, hard surfaces like metal or glass because they're actually going to dull your blade really, really quickly. This green gridded surface here is a self-healing cutting mat. It's made from a dense silicone, so the blade will sink into it just a little and it won't get ground down and dulled down. I also like the measurements on the sides for when I want to have like a perfect 90-degree angle when I'm cutting. You can get one of these online or at an art or craft store for about 10 bucks. It's a good investment if you're doing a lot of cutting. But for now, at home, nice good piece of cardboard will do. Okay, finally, let's look at some paper. There's a ton of options, and what works best for you is going to be unique as your own creativity. There's some fine art papers that are really, really great for drawing as well as for cutting. This is called Canson Mitant paper in sand. They have a ton of colors, and this is 8.5 by 11. It costs about 79 cents at most art and craft stores. It comes in a ton of colors too, as you can see. This is Stonehenge. It's a bit of a softer paper. It's really, really good for pastel. It's also great for cutting and for collage. It's also pretty reasonably priced. Now, if you don't have anything like that on hand, not to worry. Regular construction paper from the drugstore is just fine. That's what this is. You can also get creative. You can use wallpaper. You can use decorative papers, wrapping paper. You can find these at the drugstore. There's also specialty paper stores out there, thrift stores as well. I even keep old books and magazines, tear things out of there. I even keep old junk mail with images that are really, really interesting to me. I also never throw away a drawing, so when a drawing's not working, I just cut it up and use it for collage. So artists never throw anything away. Now, artists who work with paper, they tend to keep a number of different types of paper on hand. So get into the habit of collecting anything you think is interesting or important to you. It's easy to gather a tremendous amount of paper over time because a lot of it's relatively cheap and sometimes free, and it's flat, so you can have a lot of it and easily store it out of the way. So that's a quick overview of your materials for collage. In the next video, we're going to go over techniques for cutting, gluing, and composing for collage. And if you have any comments or questions, you can send them to ecp@saic.edu. That's the early college program at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Please tune into our other videos, and thanks for watching.